everyone, we're finally doing a video here at Knoxville Raceway. We just had Darren Pittman ride by with his dog. It was a wild finish tonight. We're here for obviously the 360 Knoxville Nationals to start off the week, and it was a absolutely wild finish where here at the start finish line, Brian Brown won by just about 900 mil. If this track's about 805 meters long, which is what a half mile is, if you divide that down by about 18 seconds, which is the lap times that they were doing towards the end of the feature race, if you split it all down, we worked out that with Brian Brown winning by 0.02 of a second, that works out to be 900 millimeters, so not even a meter. And in Imperial, that was about 3 feet long. So I actually thought at the time, Aaron Reutzel, who led just about, well, he did lead every lap, I thought he won the feature race. But looking up at the scoreboard over in 3 and 4, it came up with the 21 on top. So they're just doing some track prep right now. As you can see, the Duncans, who are very well known for preparing a great racetrack, it is late at night right now. It is 11:41, so 20 minutes to midnight. And the Duncans are hard at work, ripping up the track. They've been out here since before the press conference. So yeah, this is going to be a few hours of track prep that they'll do. We're very lucky with the weather. The weather was not looking good. Hasn't looked good since last night for the preliminary night there. The second night they had rain starting to fall. Just as the feature race was coming to a close, and we've been pretty lucky tonight. It's still very cool. If you're not here at the racetrack, it's quite cool, and it's actually quite nice, especially for us Australians who are pretty tired, pretty worn out and fatigued from all the travel and that. So it's going to be cool, I think, all week. But let's go through for some of what happened throughout the night. Now, we'll touch on the race. There really wasn't much that happened throughout the race. Aaron Reutzel got the lead and pretty much just kind of drove away, kept his distance until there was a red flag with a caution with 4 laps to go, and Brian Brown actually made a move with going into turn 1 and didn't pull it off, and he spoke about that in his interview later on that we've got for you guys. But then we had a wreck over here in turn 2 with a couple of cars tearing up big time. And obviously that looked like it was going to be Brian Brown's last chance to really do something with that. So he made the most of it. We went to a post-race press conference, which is just over here outside of turn number 4 in the barn. Now, it's something new where in the past they've actually had a security guard block off everyone from attending the press conference, and only media, like what we've got, only us the media could attend. Now, they actually had, for the first time ever this week, they're actually having the crowd can attend, which is absolutely awesome. And although Aaron Reutzel didn't really want to chat, we got to chat with Brian Brown after his big 360 feature win. Here's what he had to say. He got you at the start, like you spoke about in the press conference. Were you worried that you weren't going to catch him?
No, I knew kind of he gets going, and he doesn't really mess around. Like when he gets going, he puts some good times down, some good laps. So I just wanted to stay close and stay seeing him because I wanted to see how traffic played out. And he got the lap cars and kind of disposed of them pretty quick. So like my thought process changed pretty quick. Of like, hey, I can't jack around there. He's going to be 3 seconds ahead. So just try to stay with him, move through traffic the best I could, and he was going to win. There's no like, oh, I caught him and drove off and into the sunset. He was 100 yards or half a straightaway from winning the A main, but a red come out. And sometimes in sprint car racing and in racing in general, you're not the fastest car, but when you go to the bank on Monday, they want to know who got the checker flag first, and lucky enough tonight we were able to do that.
That restart was 4 to go. Obviously, like you touched on, you got lucky there and you got a shot. With on the second lap of that restart, you chose to go to the bottom and slide up. It looked a little premature. Were you thinking that?
Absolutely. It was a bad move. That was my 360 Nationals is over at that point.
Why did you slide up? Did you feel like
I felt like I got a good enough run, but I just didn't get my car turned enough and got that moisture across. And it's like I'm in no man's land, and now he just gained 10 car lengths. So that was in my mind of like, okay, I gotta work this to perfection if I want to win this race. And he's so smart. I knew I had to make 2 very, very strategic laps to beat him. And I feel like I made 2 very good laps, and we came out on top.
One thing I noticed was that you both went to the bottom on the final lap, but once you realized he went to the bottom, you quickly switched to the top much earlier than he did. Is that really important here on a track that requires has so much momentum.
Yeah, I wanted to get to the top and get turned quicker than he did.
Yeah.
That was the key. I didn't want to turn when he did. I want to be up. When he turned, I want to be able to turn. So it was like, man, like you're thinking of this stuff. It's like you're going down the interstate and somebody puts their blinker on in front of you. You're like, you just turn your blinker and you go out, whatever the case may be. But you're doing it at 130 mile an hour. It's a high stakes, high risk, high reward chess match. And to me, it's like I wanted to beat him. I asked my wife all week long. I said, I want Reutzel side by side, front row, and may the best man win. And he beat me heads up. It's just sometimes luck comes in, and I was lucky enough to sneak by him at the end.
And just quickly before you go, were you surprised that he wanted to be defensive again on a track like this, a half mile that requires momentum? You would think that he needs to get a good restart, run the top, and he can drive away.
Yeah, I really was. And I thought after the first one, I thought he might do something a little bit different the second one, but his crew chief walked over into victory lane and was motioning him what to do.
You saw that?
Yeah, so he said one lap, do a cross. So it's like, okay, I know he's doing that, so now I can really blaze that thing in there. So it was almost like reiterated what I didn't know what he was going to do. Yeah. And that's crucial things. And I'm not saying it won me the race, but it just kind of made me think about, okay, I need to seal this thing in there and I need to make these laps count. It worked out.
Yeah, that was a really fun interview there with Brian Brown. He's so open and so passionate, and he actually had to go. He's got so many fans here. It's actually pretty wild. We were sitting in the stands last night and just walking all through here, through the podium and then out to the press conference and leaving. He was so busy the entire time with people coming up and had everyone's attention, and it was very nice to give us a few minutes after the press conference to touch on things there. I loved how he spoke about the racecraft and how smart Aaron was throughout the entire race, and that he's probably one of the smartest drivers that he races with. And just behind us there is the big screen where you can see where the driver's coming down the back straight to look at. Aaron mentioned in the press conference that he could see that they weren't filming both he and Brian, so he thought, okay, there's not much of a race going on here. I can just keep doing what I'm doing. But obviously that all changed with a few laps to go, and especially here, right where the money gets paid out here on the front straight on the last lap. Right here is where they touched wheels. Here on the front straight, and as I said earlier, I actually thought that from our angle on the infield, I actually thought that Reutzel had actually won the race. So pretty wild finish. Either way, I think the fans, you can hear them over the engines, which is 20 360 engines running at the end there. It was pretty wild. But Aaron didn't really want to chat after the press conference. He was very open in the press conference, but as soon as it finished, he seemed to go, and that's understandable. He's probably pretty disappointed to miss out on the 20 grand to win. I think it was $500 to lead a lap, which is pretty cool. So Brown would have got that last lap, but Reutzel would have got every other lap. So the other big story of the night was Rico Abreu. Now Rico being the other big story, we did get a chance to speak to him. He came from 4th in the B main, which means he started out last in the A main and made his way all the way up to 3rd there at the end. Obviously got helped out by a couple of yellows, but had a really interesting chat. It was good to catch up with him. He said he wanted to get a couple of laps here at Knoxville. He understands how important it is, and also mentioned how he's driving different. It's not all down to his crew chief, Ricky Warner, who's won the Knoxville Nationals here plenty of times with Donny Schott. So it was really good to catch up with him and hear what he had to say, and we'll get that interview in just a second after a quick word from our sponsor. Do you want to attend the world's biggest sprint car races but don't know how? It's not that easy to organize, especially for your first time. A lot of people waste their time working out when and where to go, booking flights, accommodation, rental cars, tickets, trying not to miss anything. Well, you don't have to do any of that. Instead, let Global Speedway Tours take you on the trip of a lifetime. Whether you're an Aussie wanting to travel to the USA, or an American ready to see more of your own country, or finally make the trip down under, you have to do it with Global Speedway Tours. How do we know? Our very own cameraman, Matt Hollins, felt the same way you did before finally going on the ultimate trip with Pete and the crew from Global Speedway Tours. Since then, he hasn't looked back.
I went on my Global Speedway Tours trip in 2016. Everything was taken care of for me, so didn't have to worry about booking tickets or driving. Everything was all sorted for you, and the camaraderie was great. I definitely would go again. I know some of the people I went on before have actually been repeat customers, so it's definitely something you'd love to go enjoy again. I'd highly recommend Global Speedway Tours to everyone else. It's the best way to travel, best way to experience the best sport. Everything's taken care of. You don't have any worries. Once you get on the plane, everything's taken care of for you. I think if I went on my own, I wouldn't have probably experienced the great things that we did do, particularly meeting people to talk to and exclusive workshops and things and knowing where to go. Definitely going on the tour with him is the best way to go about it.
Stop worrying about the long flights. With different trip options available, you'll go to more races than you could dream of, do plenty of sightseeing, enjoy rare and exclusive experiences, and make lifelong friends. So what are you waiting for? Don't just watch it at home. Be there by booking your spot on an upcoming trip. Go to globalspeedwaytours.com.au today. You look pretty pumped after that race. Were you just happy that you made a lot of progress from your qualifying night?
Yeah, for sure. I was just happy we made big swings in our car and got it better. And you know, I was pretty hard on myself Thursday night after the feature, and just we didn't advance as many positions as we liked. And you know, starting 7th in the B main can really be difficult here in Knoxville. And you know, there the last few laps of the B, I really felt good. So I just knew I had to keep my nose clean in the feature, and we worked our way up there and got to 3rd there on the last lap, which is pretty awesome.
This has been probably your best year in a few years. How well are you gelling with Ricky Warner, and how confident are you for the 410 Nationals?
You know, I know our car is going to be good. Ricky's an unbelievable mechanic. I have the best team in the country when it comes to crew members and just discipline on movement throughout the race weekend and just decision making. And Ricky raises the bar in our pit area, and it's just a real pleasure to get to race with somebody so experienced. So it's exciting to have speed this time of year, and we've worked really hard to get to this point. And you know, I feel like I, as a driver, have overcome a lot here at Knoxville Raceway. Just the discipline of footwork and running the bottom, and you know, you just got to put it all together when it comes to Thursday.
That's one thing that you touched on that I wanted to ask is, do you feel like in yourself that you're driving different? It's easy to say, oh, you got a new crew chief and you're doing better, but do you feel like you've really changed the way you're driving to get these positions?
I feel like Ricky's helped me a lot, just mature as a race car driver and be patient at times, and just understand how the races develop throughout a 30-lap A main. So you know, I've really just focused on being patient and positioning myself, and I feel like that's a big difference from you know, myself a few years ago as a race car driver.
Yeah, fun chat there with Rico. He was very open, and it's good to see him so confident. We all know that how well he can do, and it's nice to see him in the right frame of mind, especially come for the 410 Nationals. I was actually just talking to Jamie Ball over here after the feature race, and he mentioned how about 5 drivers that made the feature race have to go to work on Monday, and the way he put it is that basically it's the 410 Nationals just with 360s in the car. But yeah, I thought that was a good analogy. But we actually just ran into Brian Brown. He was very good, as you saw in the interview before. He's very good with his sponsors and that. Those guys are still celebrating over here. It doesn't look like they're going to pack up anytime soon. It is now 5 to midnight, so it's going to be a late night for those guys. One thing I did want to say before we wrap up is please come see us if we are filming or throughout the night. We'd love to run into you guys. We'd actually love, now that we got this separate mic, we'd love to interview some of you guys. We don't care if you're a little bit intoxicated. We don't care where you're from, whether you're from the States or in Australia. If you've made the big trip over here, it'd be awesome to run into you guys. Another thing that we have to mention is that we have a stall this week. We tried to announce it on our live video. That didn't go to plan the other night, but we got a stall over here under the main grandstand, right next to the elevator, just under the grandstand there. We're going to have a big 20x10 tent, and we got plenty of freebies to give away, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We're really excited to bump into a lot of you guys and have some fun. But until then, we're going to wrap up for the night. That was the final night of the 360 Nationals. Tomorrow night, it looks like the weather's not that great for the Capitani Classic, but we're hoping they're going to get it in. Jamie Ball was telling me about 27 hours of rain is straight of rain is scheduled, so that's not very good, but that means the track probably be plenty juicy enough if we do get racing in. We'll see what happens, but until then, we'll see you in the next video.